You know, something massive is happening in the world of banking right now, and it's all because of AI. We're starting to see what's being called a great decoupling, a really deep split between the banks that are getting AI right and, well, everyone else who's getting left behind. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. By 2026, which is right around the corner, the lines are going to be drawn. A bank will either be a true AI leader or it'll be stuck in what's called pilot purgatory. You know what I'm talking about? That place where all these promising AI projects go to die, never making a real-world impact. And here's the kicker, the paradox at the heart of this whole thing. Get this. 91% of banks are pouring more and more money into AI, and yet a staggering 81%, admit they're seeing zero meaningful financial return. So where is all that money going? It's a huge question, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with this idea of the decoupling. Then we'll look at the cracks and the technical foundations of these banks. After that, we'll dive into a really dangerous new threat, the synthetic identity crisis. Then we'll compare the two big AI strategies out there, co-pilots versus autonomous agents. And finally, we'll lay out a blueprint for what the bank of the future actually looks like. All right, first up, why are so many banks getting stuck in this pilot purgatory? How can so many promising projects just fizzle out before they ever launch at scale? Well, it turns out it comes down to a really basic but critical strategic mistake. And that mistake is called task myopia. See, banks get all excited about using AI for these small, flashy efficiencies, like, say, summarizing an email. But think about it. If that faster summary doesn't actually lead to a faster loan approval or make the client any happier, what have you done? You've just made the process more expensive, not better. They're spending all this time and money optimizing one tiny little gear instead of redesigning the entire engine. And that strategic error? It's made so much worse by a much deeper, much more technical problem. The actual cracks in the foundation of how most banks' technology is built. This table really lays it all out. On one side, you have these legacy systems that were designed for predictable, overnight tasks. But on the other side, modern AI, it needs real-time, continuous data. They are just fundamentally incompatible. It's like trying to run a high-speed bullet train on an old cobblestone road. It's just never gonna work. And here's why that problem is so bad. The average age of a bank's core platform is 20 to 30 years old. I mean, these systems were built decades before modern AI was even a thing. They simply were not designed for the world we live in today. Let's make this even simpler. Old school banks use something called batch processing. They collect a whole day's worth of transactions and then they run them all at once, overnight. But AI needs to see what's happening right now, in this instant. To do things like detect fraud or make a personalized offer, it needs real-time streaming, and that's a capability these ancient systems just don't have. Now, this technology gap isn't just about being slow or inefficient, it's actually creating brand new and very serious dangers. The fact is, these outdated systems simply can't keep up with modern criminals. Which brings us to this really interesting question. How do you stop a criminal who doesn't even exist? And no, that's not a riddle. It's the central problem behind a really sophisticated new kind of threat called synthetic fraud. So a synthetic identity isn't stolen, it's built from scratch. Fraudsters take one piece of real stolen data, like a social security number, and then they combine it with a totally fake name and address. And just like that, they've created a brand new ghost person who doesn't actually exist. And this ghost then goes out and starts building a credit history. And here's what makes it so incredibly dangerous. With traditional identity theft, there's a real victim, a real person who eventually notices that something is wrong, and an alarm gets raised. But with a synthetic identity, there is no single victim. The person is a ghost. So it can operate for years, building credit and taking out loans without ever triggering the old alert systems. The scale of this problem is just immense. By early 2026, the predicted cost of this kind of fraud is expected to hit £10 billion a year, and that's just in the UK. That is a massive, invisible hole being punched in the financial system, and it's a cost that, at the end of the day, gets passed down to all of us through higher fees and tighter credit. So, okay, with these massive challenges, how are the leading banks managing to break away from the pack? Well, it all comes down to a really important strategic divide in how they think about and use AI. And that's the difference between co-pilots and autonomous agents. It's a pretty simple distinction. A co-pilot is basically a tool that assists a person. So think of an AI that suggests the next sentence while you're writing an email. You're still the one flying the plane. An AI agent, on the other hand, is an autonomous worker. You don't help it. You give it a goal, like process this entire mortgage application from start to finish, and it goes and orchestrates the whole workflow by itself. And the results from this agentic approach? They're not just a little better, they're staggering. And this isn't just a theory, we're looking at hard data here. The banks that are using these autonomous AI agents are seeing unbelievable gains in really complex areas like mortgage lending, IT, and even customer onboarding. I mean, the impact is just crystal clear. In mortgage lending, we're talking about a 40 to 50% drop in the cost of labor and time. In IT, a 50% jump in developer productivity. These are not small incremental tweaks. This is a complete reinvention of how the work actually gets done. So that brings us to our last section, the actual blueprint for building the bank of the future. How do you become one of those leaders and finally escape that pilot purgatory for good? It really boils down to three main pillars. First, you need a modular architecture that's flexible, not brittle and old. Second, compliance has to be embedded from the very start, not something you try to bolt on at the end. And third, you have to start evolving your people into an agentic workforce. So what does that look like on a technical level? It means separating the AI brain from those old core systems. Use a central AI gateway that acts like a universal adapter, letting you plug new AI models in and out without having to tear down the whole house. This kind of design lets the bank become proactive, triggering AI actions based on events as they happen, not just waiting for some overnight report to come in. And all of this leads to this really powerful new idea, the 10x bank. Now, this isn't a bank with 10 times the number of employees. No, it's a bank where one single human employee manages an entire team of specialized AI agents, basically amplifying their impact and their expertise exponentially. This right here is the future of the financial workforce. And that leaves us with one last, pretty crucial question. In this great decoupling, technology isn't just changing a few things, it's forcing a fundamental choice. Is your bank clinging to a 30-year-old foundation, stuck in the past? Or is it busy building that modular, agent-driven future? Because the answer to that question is going to define who wins and who loses in the next decade of finance.